You just have to.
Oh my God! And you.
And we're live on Social Storage. Good morning,
Did I swear?
everybody.
Sorry, guys.
Happy Fat Tuesday. It is Fat Tuesday, it's not?
It is. Oh, it is, and it is sad.
Do you partake in the festivities, Miss Fly Jamerson?
Girl, I have been partaking in the festivities since the beginning of January. Y'all are just celebrating Mardi Gras on today? No. Like New Year's hits, and it is like no. We go. I have been eating. There's so much king cake in my house. We have been eating king cake for weeks. In fact, in an interim time before I used to work in social media and commercial real estate, I used to be a pastry chef. And as a day job, just like, gotta pay the bills, man. And I made so much king cake when I moved to Louisiana. And so I am very opinionated about this topic, actually. But yes, today is Fat Tuesday. We're probably mostly going to stay inside. Much of the Mardi Gras activities that happen are not conducive to 6-year-olds or mothers of 6-year-olds. So we hear.
Beads, anyone? Beads?
Well, but there are also parades. Like there's a parade that goes right in front of my house, and so we actually really don't have to go anywhere. Mardi Gras comes to us, and that is the power of location.
Hey, good morning to Ben Nolte CRE, who says, I want to see a lean Tuesday. DB says, I'll see you on LinkedIn. Good morning, DB. Holly Pennington's joining us over on the gram, as is Regalado Real Estate. We got our whole crew over there. We are talking today about holiday content. Good morning, DB. There you are. Holiday content and Fly and I have two separate ideas and points of view on this whole thing. And so, I'm gonna let her take it away. And the whole thing comes up because we just had President's Day, right?
Yeah. Which I forget about, honestly. Does that make me? Yeah. I gotta reflect on that.
Well, so coming from a social media marketing perspective, there are I think a total of 7 holidays that we create content for specifically.
Ooh. Okay, lay it on me.
Yeah. So there's and sometimes it depends on the client too. Like if they want an Easter post, then we do an Easter post. But we asked before, do you want Easter this year? Do you not want Easter this year? How important is that to you? Memorial Day is one of them. 4th of July is definitely another one. I do not do Labor Day. I refuse to do Labor Day. So Labor Day is one that gets ignored by me because it is a personal thing.
Ooh, okay. See, there's beef. Okay. Finish the list and then I want to get into it because I actually have questions about that. But I want to set up for everybody why we're even having this conversation, because you hinted at it a little bit in the sense of maybe we have differing opinions. But then last night I was like, oh, I've got it. I'm wrong about everything, which is so often the case when I'm like, you're my thought partner. Do you know what I mean? And look, when I got into the business, I was like, who's doing commercial real estate, social media? Because I didn't know I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know Bob Knackle's name, but they did. And they were like, just go look at Bob. I've told this story before, but they were like, go look at Bob. And I'm like, okay, I'm looking at Bob. And then I realized, obviously, it was all you. So I came to you, right? And now here we are. But I'm still learning from you all the time. And so, yeah, last night when I texted you, I was just like, oh, yeah, no, all right, I get it. I understand.
So it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. Those are the main ones that I like to hint at. Good morning, Marcy Moneypenny.
Yes, Moneypenny's in the house.
Also, it depends on if they want Father's Day or Mother's Day. I always leave that up to the client. I will send them a message saying, hey, these are the holidays we're doing this year. Which ones do you want to be a part of? Which ones do you not want to be a part of? And it's kind of like that, right? So it just depends on the client. Now, I am not a fan, so I'm going to put this out there before we jump into everything else. I am not a fan of doing national days.
National Snuggle Up to Your Pumpkin Day or whatever they've invented for the Canva girlies to have something to post. Oh, I love them though. I love them and they love it. And they're just like, oh, live, laugh, love, National Coffee Day. And I'm just like, you're so happy and content in your existence. I can't bash it. Sorry. You have such big eyebrows right now.
I hate the national days.
Okay. But let's not. Okay. So, all right.
If you don't have content and that's what you're doing. And I understand a lot of times you don't have content to be able to put out and you're like, oh, what national day is it? Oh, it's National Hot Dog Day. Well, okay, I can understand if you were a wiener company celebrating National Hot Dog Day. I just wanted to say wiener. If you were,
on my own today,
National Hot Dog Day, then that makes sense, right? If you are industry adjacent or you want to celebrate National Hot Dog Day, and so you're having a barbecue with all the hot dogs, boom, that's how you do it. But if you're just putting up a Canva graphic or some sort of AI generated thing, no shame, no shade on the AI generated bullshit. But if you're just putting it up just to put content up, what about National IDG Day? Hell yeah, every day is that day.
That's every day, Ben. That's every day. Okay, so here, so this is for me, this is the core, like, spine or skeleton or like insert adjective. It's too early. I have not had enough coffee yet, and my child is in the other room watching Harold and the Purple Crayon. Okay, so but it's either signal or it's junk. All right, it's either when you post something online, whatever it is, we don't really talk about the 3 E's anymore. That's kind of how, you and I, we're framing this for a long time, and that's evolved for us. But like, what is the value in what you're posting? How is it starting conversations? How is it building relationships? How are you teaching? How are you educating? How are you engaging? Right? All those things, entertaining, right? And so those are all purposeful versus what you were talking about, which is like filler, right? And so for me, holiday posting, people either love it or they think it's cringe. And so like you've identified for me, like that makes sense in terms of delineation. Like there are things that are very purposeful that you're being very intentional about versus you just are pulling up the Meta business calendar and it's like telling you to post a thing, right? But even but my thing is, even in the past, even the major holiday posts to me have felt generic and low value. And what I've figured out from you, even in the way that you were just talking about it, is that they're actually doing something really important. And if you do it tactically, and there's probably a million ways that you can do it. And I still think that there's probably an entry level way to like post holiday themed posts. Like I'm not posting about, this is my Mardi Gras post. This is my Mardi Gras post. This is the first time I have like ever done a holiday post besides the times that I've worn, like Capriate Craig's, like Feliz Navidad, like sweater, right? Because that's just comedy. That's valuable all the time, right? But so like when you post holiday stuff, there's a little bit of a backstory to this in terms of like why when I came into social media marketing, like I was pretty heavily conditioned to like not do this. But I want to talk about some of those things that we and you have talked about, and that I've identified, and in terms of like what value they actually have, like what are they doing, right? So even just inside of this example, it is Mardi Gras, it's Fat Tuesday. I didn't dress up. I was going to. I changed my mind. I'm sorry. Maybe I should be saying you're welcome. My child is coming in here. But like what is the value of the actual posts? Like in terms of like when, like for you in your mind, when you post those things, here comes my daughter. What's up? Hi, I'm live on the show. I'm going to mute for a second.
So the value of those holiday posts is the fact that you, especially like if you're in New York City or San Francisco or one of the large areas, you're actually showing that you're a part of your community. It is a core thing. And you want to bring up the fact that, especially when it's national holidays, that you have something to say. I always want clients to give me something personal. How does this affect you? Like I'm very, very adamant between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Memorial Day is memorial for those who have died. Veterans Day is for our veterans who are still alive, right? Do not post Memorial Day bullshit on Veterans Day. It is not the same thing.
No, it's not.
Maybe it's just because I come from a military family. I don't know. But like Memorial Day is Memorial Day. Veterans Day is Veterans Day. Never the twain shall meet.
Never the twain shall meet. Well, that was the thing too. Like when we did, so we had Will Curtis on when it was Veterans Day.
Yep.
To talk about, all kinds of things. A lot of the work that he's doing. Hold on just one second.
Hey, this is live, people. We gotta love it.
Okay, can you talk about the Will Curtis Veterans Day thing for 1 second while I help my daughter get out her pink gold lycra laminated folding chair? I gotta post a picture later. Just carry me for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
So Veterans Day, we had Will Curtis on. This was he talked about the different things that he does, and it's important that you actually I don't want to necessarily say honor, but make sure that you have something that's valid that you're bringing through. I think that's the biggest challenge with a lot of holiday posts and holiday content is that there's almost like a disconnect between how people are talking about it. It needs to be personal. What does it mean to you? How is that important? And so for us to have Will on, one, we talked about his podcast, we talked about his programs. And also, hello, he's a vet, right? So that was very, very personal, bringing him on, allowing him to have a platform to speak. I have, like I said, I have issues when it comes to, if you're not sharing community, if you're not sharing like cultural awareness, like I love, so for example, on Cup of Joe, Corey and I were talking about, especially during the holidays, talking about, Rockefeller Center and how I love the big Christmas tree and stuff like that. And he's like, it's crap. Right. But I mean, he didn't actually say that, but for people in New York City, they don't care about that stuff. Right. But he did make a point of doing a live and it was cold and walking and while we were there, while we were on our show, he had the Christmas tree in the background. Right.
Oh, so good.
Right. That's culturally, that's such a huge thing for New York City. And for somebody who's not in New York City, who doesn't get to see that, for me, that was very, very cool. Right. So think about how you can make an impact with the holiday posts that you're doing. So, we didn't do anything for President's Day.
Well, and you want to know what culturally that tracks? In terms of there is a big, I don't know, maybe it should be different, but there's a big difference between the cultural behemoth of the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree and a holiday that literally everyone forgot about because it was in between Valentine's and Mardi Gras. And not even that, right? But it was just there was, and
then there's also the fact, are you virtue signaling too? So I have issues too if the content that you're creating is celebrating a holiday that your foundation or your company doesn't actually celebrate or do. Why would you put that out on social media just to make your company look better?
Yeah, it has to be. So it needs to reflect internal values. It needs to reflect culture. It needs to reflect relationships. It needs to reflect all of the things that you share in your community. And this was really the thing that turned me around on this because, in my, because I'm burned from the little, make 600 Canva graphics that are all Christmas, whatever. It's that whole.
Generic, it just comes to the fact that generic holiday posting feels like junk mail after a while, right? It's just messing up the feed. It's clogging it up. We want to see you make a connection. We want to see you create community with something. So exactly. Hold on. Yeah. Dwayne. Exactly. Remember when we celebrated Lincoln and Washington's birthday separately?
Oh my God, that's such a burn. That's we consolidated that. And also those were real people. Okay. And this is what the point I was trying to make. Sorry, I had to log into Hello Kitty Nail Salon. So people do business with people. Yeah. That's it. Full stop. People do business with people. And I specifically have talked about over and over and over that your content needs to reflect your values, because at the end of the day, there is no difference between any one of us. Like everything is commoditized. Anybody can do everything. And the only moat left, like I was just in the woods for 3 days with like 20 of the most high level operators in the industry. And like it is insane, some of the things that people are working on. What up, Eric? Thank you. And as if you're saying happy birthday to me and not happy Mardi Gras. I'm gonna own it because I'm the only Louisiana link right now. Relationships are the only moat left. Everything is getting automated. Everything is speeding up so fast. And so like the things that like AI doesn't celebrate Christmas, you know what I mean? Like AI doesn't celebrate those things. And so it's like, this is a huge shift for me, because anything that is uniquely a human signal, like not only for your human relationships, but also how you're differentiating yourself between things that can't be replaced by a machine, like that is like, those are the kinds of things that we need to be posting about. And so it's like the case against generic holiday content is like 100% there is a way to do this wrong. But I think that you've identified that if it is junk mail, it's not going to work. But that's just like everything else, right? It's the same thing as like if you just post, like your little just listed result, like whatever, like it's not helping you stay top of mind. It's not showing that you're a part of the community. It's not signaling any of the values that we're talking about make you. And like it is, you want to know what? And this I think is maybe a generational thing or maybe a me thing. And I'm not entirely sure, but it's just like, I think it's probably more of a me thing than a generational thing, but we'll get into it. But you want to know what? I think that the generation of people that most people in this industry are trying to reach really like holiday cards. There's a really, really meaningful thing to them. Like, and I know it because I will get holiday cards from people in the mail. Right. In this business, like Scott Savacool, you want to know what? Like that man is like one of the sweetest men, and I must be in his CRM. And if I'm not on some kind of rotation of he's got to check with me every quarter, it's just in his head because he's a person who cares and he's a high level operator. But that man sends cards, and those cards are thoughtful and they make an incredible impression. And so that's a little bit different than what I'm talking about in terms of like the holiday posts. But also, what if it wasn't? I just think that like this idea of like what we're actually signaling inside of the content is not something that has ever been discussed in terms of holiday posting. And a lot of people are doing it. And I just want people to get the most value out of what they're doing.
It needs to be personal. And like you said, it has to have that human touch point. That's, with AI automating everything. And I like the example that you brought up about Scott Savacool sending a card. That is thoughtful. That takes intention. That is not just creating some random post that you had ChatGPT spit out something from information that you put in there. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, you want it to be personalized. You want it to be something that is a connection. We connect with humans. So while you're creating these holiday posts or looking at it, really think about how that actually applies to you. Maybe if you're super busy in your local market, you're going to share stuff that's happening. Maybe there's, a rodeo, maybe there's a Christmas fair, maybe there's a county fair, right? Like if those are huge things for a lot of people. Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah. Huge things for a lot of people. And then the idea
like
of
for you in Mardi Gras, right? You were there.
Right. Like if you want to know what, cultural. Hey, all you cats have my phone number. Why don't I do something a little nice for somebody who can get real personal and at me with a Mardi Gras wish? Okay. But okay, here's random idea, because again, like, people are like, how do I know my stuff is working? What am I doing with my, like, getting likes on stuff? If you post generic, sorry, I don't want this to sound mean. I'm a little tired. It's just going to. So like, even if you're posting holiday stuff, right? And even if it's bad, if somebody still engages with it, holy cats, you better be transacting with that person because they are leaned in. You know what I mean? Like there's an actual signal there, because the people, if you're posting that, because that's the thing too, like what are people, like when you're posting stuff, how are you actually reading your analytics? What are you actually doing when your LinkedIn impressions are up and to the right? You got to start calling people. like, you're not trying to get famous, you're trying to transact. Anyway, I'm getting hyped up, but it's just like some communities treat holidays like culture. And if you are inside of that culture, you're one of the family. And people transact with the family. They don't transact with outsiders. Like, guys, come on. You got to, like, this is what's going on. And if you are, and also if you ignore it, like this, okay, this is the thing for me. This is what actually, like, there's actually no way for me to speak plainly about this. But I have worked in environments and with clients where either the leadership in the company or like the person in the account like is refusing to actually acknowledge local traditions in a way that they're like a little bit above it. And you want to know what? It caused a lot of social friction in the community and people don't transact with them. I've seen it 100 times. I haven't seen it 100 times. I've seen it 3 times specifically, but it's just like, it's a larger thing. Like, don't make yourself a pariah. Now, don't spam the feed with like, you know, internet, like, because again, nobody cares about those kinds of holidays, right? But it's just like, what, you have to find the balance. And I got to mute for a second.
You do have to find the balance because of the fact that some people, well, and people are going to complain regardless, right? I mean, that seems to be the people of the internet nowadays.
Well, and let me be clear, I'm not talking in that particular example. It's not complaining. I think that I think it's still just like all a little bit more complicated than that, but I interrupted you. But I guess what I'm trying to say is like the realization that I had last night that sort of spawned this whole thing made me realize that the accumulation of this kind of behavior or lack thereof on your social media has a lot of weight. Sorry.
100%. Yeah. I mean, well, no, and especially I would say culturally, especially for communities that are heavily invested and involved in that, you have is this the part of the show where we talk about self-awareness? You need to have self-awareness about your business and
okay, can I contextualize this for everyone for 1 second? And then I promise at some point I will release the track. At some point, Allison Weiss, who's very nice, that's the rhyme that my daughter came up with, was sharing something in the Elite group chat. I hope I'm not outing her on this. Is this okay to share, Mo?
Yes, I'm not sure.
It's a song. I don't know. I'm just.
Oh,
Allison was telling us a story, and she sent a voice note, and she basically did a little sing-song voice that was, but the lyrics were "The lack of self-awareness is shocking." I sampled that and then ran it through Suno and created like the greatest bossa nova hit of all time. I'll release it anyway.
You should absolutely release it.
I'm gonna do it. I'll do it on the weekend when I'm finished with this other thing. Anyway, I interrupted you.
That actually plays in my head when I'm dealing with certain people, and I'm like,
a lack of self-awareness is shocking.
Yes, it's fabulous. Yes, it's wonderful. Okay,
I'm in France. It's great. I'm in the south of France on a little moped and ignoring all the people who are stupid. Okay.
So if you want holiday content without being cringe, you got to ask yourself a couple questions. Is it relevant to your people? Is it relevant to your community? Can you make it specific, right? Obviously, flies in Louisiana, they have stuff that's happening with Mardi Gras. Like that is very, very specific. Can you tie it into something human, meaning you or somebody in your company, or has to have a human connection? Also, we don't need a dissertation. So can you keep it short? Right?
Also, a dissertation, no dissertations in the caption, no dissertations in the actual graphic too. Like, don't put like, don't like nobody, you can't zoom in far enough. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's going to do it. Anyway, sorry, go on.
No, I know.
It's bad. It gets really bad out there.
It's getting pretty bad, especially with a lot of the AI generated content graphics that some of them look amazing. Some of them are amazing.
Yeah, but then they're like infographics that you used to open on Tumblr, right? And it's just like this, it's like literally this big, and you can't. I'm not doing that. I don't have time. I keep interrupting you. Sorry.
I can't believe you brought up Tumblr. Tumblr.
The only reason I did is because I'm doing all kinds of stuff on the back end, but I had to, okay. You want to know what? Never mind. Not everything needs to be explained. I can just be a mystery Tumblr girl. Okay.
And last but not least, you don't want to force it, right? You don't want to force doing this holiday content if it's not meant for you or for your audience. You know, I love to see, like, if you think about 4th of July stuff, I love seeing content that I love seeing is maybe you're sharing a past picnic that your company had, or maybe it's personal and you're sharing a past holiday, like, picture of you being at the lake with your family or celebrating something like that. And why is that? Because we connect with human. We like to see the behind the scenes. We're very nosy. That hasn't changed. In fact, social media has made it even 10 times worse, because I know if I want to go find something, or I want to learn something about an event that I heard happening, guess what? I'm going to go stalk people's Facebook and Instagram profiles, which sounds horrid, but hey, I'm putting it out there. Yeah, if I'm hearing about it.
I don't apologize for that. And it doesn't sound horrid, because we're all doing it and we have to, because we're in the business of information and relationships. Like, and you want to know what? I feel like the social media girlies are, like, especially, like, they should actually be being groomed for intelligence.
Oh,
you know what I mean? But, like, that's a different conversation, and that's kind of my trajectory. So maybe I shouldn't expose the asset. But
that is actually fascinating, because we've seen that happen on, like, TikTok, where there's a cheater, right? And then it's like the whole phenomenon where the guy's hitting on the woman and they both have wedding rings and they are clearly not together, and they're having a grand old time and kind of getting it on the plane. And then everybody's like, is this your husband? I'm on this flight, blah, 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 blah. His name is Jeff.
That's rough. But I mean all kinds of stuff, because, like, look, if not, you know, if you weren't at the party and you weren't in the conversation, like, you didn't hear it, like, you weren't there. Do you know what I mean? But it's just, and it amazes me, because, you know what, I'm currently, and this is probably the last thing, tangent before we go, but, like, sometimes I get really, when I write a lot of the stuff that I write on social media, especially, like, oh, I heard a broker did this, or like a broker said this to me, or like I was a fly on the wall for this conversation. Those posts are usually on a delay of, like, between 6 months to a year, or like 3 to 6 months and upwards of a year, in terms of, like, I've witnessed something by proximity that it's like, and it takes me a while to figure out, but I've actually, so for about a year, I've been, like, sitting on an interaction that I had, and I just have, like, sort of come to understand why it grabbed me, because bringing it back around to the point, the social listening thing and being extremely plugged in online and knowing exactly what everybody is talking about, at least on a surface level, and it has turned out to be, for me, extremely valuable. Okay. And then, but there's this one cat I'm trying to get on X, because he would transact insanely and he just refuses to. And I'm just like, bro, like, the proximity is all around you. You just have to, anyway, tangential, never mind. We got strawberry shortcake bake shop going on in the background there. Post about your holidays, but do it in a way that doesn't suck and signals values. And I was completely wrong about this, and Mo was right.
What? You were completely wrong.
No, I don't know if you knew that I had such a, like, in my little soul, I was just like, holiday posts. I don't know. But
I think some holiday posts are valuable. Again, if they don't suck, if you make them personal and human, if you apply them and they are of value to your community, you know, and it's also, like, I mean, you think about, like, oh, it's another 4th of July post. Yeah, but
make it not. Just make it not. This is like, you have to do the thing that you can do. And you want to know what? If that means that you start with just pulling a Canva graphic and you put it up there, you want to know what? That's great. that, I actually want to encourage that. But what matters to you, and you want to know what I want to do, what I think we should do with this, and what we will do with this is let's in the school, we're going to put a little resource about kind of like how to test, like how to write a holiday post that does all these things and doesn't suck. That's what it's going to be called. But we should probably wrap. Unless I know you probably, can you land this for us, please? I'm really manic. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good. All right, everybody.
And I'm mothering. I can't.
All right, that's it for our holiday edition. Happy Fat Tuesday to everybody. Remember, if it doesn't apply to you, you probably shouldn't be posting about it on social media, particularly on your business pages. But we don't want to stop you from posting about holidays. If that's the only content that you can start with, then by all means, please do. Just make sure you're not virtual signaling and that your content doesn't suck. All right, everybody, we'll see you back here on Thursday, where we're going to be going over the DNA of CRE report for marketers. We'll be going through the broker list and put that together. And then don't forget, CREISummit.com. February 28th is when the deadline is for all of those nominations / submissions. We have the women's list. If you don't want to be on any of the lists, but you still want to nominate a woman, go to CREISummit.com. That is for the influential women's list. LinkedIn, we have lists for influential women, LinkedIn, X, Retweet, Instagram, and podcast. Yeah. So CREISummit.com, go over there, nominate or submit, up to you. You got to put all your numbers in, but since you're going to be putting all your numbers in, you might as well do it all at once. Just saying. Just do it all at once. And my phone's going off because I keep saying CREI Summit and it keeps thinking that I'm saying Siri.
Maybe it's a feature, not a bug. I don't know. Let's leave.
All right, everybody. Have a great one. We'll see you back here on Thursday. Bye.